Okay, we've got a sample of Skittles candy with 85 green, 72 orange, 100 purple, 95 red, and 72 yellows. We want to create a simple pie chart for this data, which will show the proportion that each color contributes to the total sample size. So in general, the basic way to create any chart in Excel is going to be to highlight the data that you want to have included in your chart. We usually don't want to highlight extra stuff like maybe we have the total down here, which would be something we might be interested in seeing, or we have that column heading above. We want to highlight just the data that we want plotted, okay, which is the count for each category. And then we're going to look under the Insert tab, we're going to look at the chart options. And for a circle graph, we're going to take the first simplest 2D pie chart, okay? And we'll click that, and it appears here. We're going to have to do a little bit of formatting to adjust it, but that's about the right display. You can see we've got a default legend that appears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That legend doesn't really do us any good. We could correct the labels so that they actually corresponded to the categories, or we can do call-outs so that each wedge is just directly labeled. And so if I right-click on one of these wedges and look here under the Add Data Label option, what I actually want to add is data callouts. And so I've right-clicked on a wedge, brought up this context menu. I'm looking under the Add Data Labels options. I'm going to add what it's calling a data callout. Now each of these has been labeled with that index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the percentage 22%. So I still don't like those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. I really want them to correspond to the color names over here. So I'm going to right-click again on one of these wedges in the chart, and I'm going to choose Select Data. That Select Data option is going to give you this dialog that controls what is being plotted and what labels are created. The default labels, because I hadn't included any labeling in the chart columns that I inserted, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to edit that. Click Edit. I get another dialog box, and I'm going to click out here in the body of the chart and highlight the column that contains those actual corresponding labels. And once I've done that, I click OK, I click OK. Those labels now appear in the callouts, and they also appear down here in the legend. Now in this case, because I've gone with these callouts, the legend down here is entirely redundant, so I'm going to turn it off. If I look up here at this Add Chart Element tab, you can see I've got access to data labels, title, and legend. I'm going to set it to no legend. I don't need a legend because I've got those callouts that give those names. I also want to edit that chart title. Okay, we either turn it off or we edit it to be an appropriate name. In other words, it should never be left as that default placeholder value of chart title. Let's say a descriptive title. Skittles color distribution. Now that's pretty good. You can see it's a fairly even split among those colors. You can see the percentage labels, you can see the color category labels. And so in most cases, that would be pretty good for a pie chart. Now in this case, because our category data is actually colors, it seems sort of silly to have the yellow wedge be blue and the red wedge be yellow and the green wedge be blue and so on. So I'm going to actually manually change that color sequence so they correspond. I'm going to still keep the color names because that's helpful, especially if you have a viewer looking at this who's colorblind, or if you print it in black and white. So one click and you'll see that I've got all of the wedges highlighted. a left click again in one bar, and now you can see that just this wedge is highlighted. So I've got just this wedge highlighted. Now I right click and I'm just going to change that fill color. We'll make the green wedge green. Now I'm left clicking again. Make sure that I've got just this orange one highlighted, and well, it just happened to already be orange, so that looks good. We'll highlight this wedge. So I've clicked on it, make sure that just that wedge is highlighted, not the whole thing. Then I right click and change the fill color to what I'm looking for. In this case, it's purple. Okay. Change this one to red. And we'll change this one to yellow. So those wouldn't be steps that I would necessarily have to do every time I create a pie chart in Excel, but in this case I think it looks much better to have the color coordination. And so there's our simple pie chart.